Siobhan Maguire from the Sunday Times is here, as is Karl Deeter. Good morning to you both. Thanks for coming in. Right, let's start with it. The biting incident. Was it a bite or was it not a bite?
It was a bite, most definitely.
Conclusive proof.
Conclusive. I've tried my best not to watch the World Cup, but I did sit down last night and I watched the game and couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know, it was quite clearly a bite, and how he wasn't put off, the pitch for it. Even afterwards, when he's sitting down afterwards, you can see him. He's like holding his teeth as well. So, and the poor Italian player with the bite mark on his shoulder as well.
And he's going to face this ban now.
Yeah, I think he made a pretty bad choice, because I figure if you're going to bite someone, you should make sure that they're either handsome or that they taste good. And I don't know that a sweaty Giorgio Chiellini really qualifies as either of those things.
But the headlines are classic today.
Talk us through some of them. I know we've Jaws 3 here. We can
Jaws
just
3, there's Chewy Suarez. I think the Mail has dinner, Mr. Suarez, and yes, I'll have an Italian. You know, it's just, it's brilliant stuff. I mean, okay, it's not funny at the end of it, and it was a particularly nasty tactic.
I see him on the Sun there now. They gave him horse's teeth, but they didn't really need to do that, to be honest, did they?
They didn't need to do it. No, he does have form. You know, he I think he had a 10-match ban in 2013 against a Chelsea player, and then he was also sent off for a 7-game ban for biting a PSV Eindhoven player, I think, in 2010. And now I do think Liam Brady's analysis of the situation was fantastic last night.
Go ahead.
He suggested that he should be taken to the dentist and have his teeth extracted, and that would be the end of the problem.
Might be a little bit too far, maybe. And I see that on the back of the Sun, of course, all the back pages are at it as well. But they managed to bring England into it as well, who are going home in shame again after having lost. And they drew 0-0 last night. But a toothless, dire England draw. So we're even getting them in on it. Karl, there's a piece by Donal O'Shea, who we actually had on the programme a few days ago, talking about sugar and obesity. And they've stopped obesity surgery in St Vincent's Hospital in Dublin. Is that?
Yeah, there was a disagreement in Vincent's, and it's resulted in no obesity surgeries taking place. And he makes a point that I think is really interesting, that when it comes to a cost saving, that only kidney transplants are better than obesity surgery for saving cost. And not only that, it's also something that, despite being good economics, helps people at the lower end of the income scale, because obesity seems to have a correlation with your wealth. And the idea of your weight being a big issue, I know that life insurance companies really underwrite stringently based on your weight. They use it to. But life companies don't take a view of whether it's politically correct to be overweight or not. They just say, what is the outcome? And so I'm confident that obesity is the crisis that it's being painted out to be, and that you shouldn't end surgeries that can prevent it. And if you look at something like smoking, if someone's smoking, it's perfectly okay to go up to them and say socially, I think that's a disgusting habit. But if someone was morbidly obese, you'd be a social pariah for saying, I think that your weight is a disgrace. But it will actually cut your life short. And in particular, childhood obesity is an issue. And so stopping these surgeries is just senseless.
And he's putting it down to cost saving. He operates out of that hospital himself, as well as from the Loughlinstown Weight Clinic Hospital. Yeah,
but it's a false economy is the point that he's making.
Yeah.
And I think at a time where resources are limited, that false economy is really not the place that we need to be. We should be looking at bottom line statistics, and certainly these surgeries seem to make a big impact, and it can save money further down the line. And if that's the case, they should be doing these surgeries.
Okay. The other big story, we were leading with it in RTE last night, from the UK, the hacking trial almost coming to an end, but it may open more questions than it answered, and it may continue even further. But it's raised an awful lot of questions for David Cameron and his judgment in appointing Andy Coulson as his spin doctor.
Yeah, David Cameron, I mean, is under the spotlight. I mean, he did apologise. I mean, it was quite hard to decipher the exact nature of the apology. What was he apologising for? Giving somebody a second chance. He does have questions to answer in all of this. I think what we have to do is digest the information we got yesterday from the courts, which is that Rebecca Brooks has been cleared. I think she was very much targeted during all of this. I'm not sure people expected the decision that the jury arrived at yesterday. And again, for all the wrong reasons. I mean, people were just assuming things, speculating. But yes, she's been cleared after the eight-month case.
There's talk now that they may want to, the police may want to talk to Rupert Murdoch. Now, I know you're with the Sunday Times, but Rupert Murdoch was here last year. He was in the office with you. What sort of a character is he?
Yeah, he was a very charming man, you know. I mean, we didn't all get to speak with him individually, but he met us all in a group capacity and came in. And, you know, for an elderly man, he's very sprightly, very had a very strong presence. I mean, I felt he came into the office and gave us all a bit of a boost at a time, you know, in the country when the economy was so bad and everything. It was just very nice to meet him, actually.
Oh, right. Okay, very good. What else have we got there? The online text message bullying to be criminalised. This came out yesterday, didn't it? It'll be an interesting move if they can do it. What are they suggesting?
Well, it's something Pat Rabbit said he wants to have proposals forthcoming now. Proposals forthcoming, who knows what that means, but we were told that there's about 30 recommendations, and it's covered in the cover of the Examiner and on page 2 of the Irish Times. And what they're saying is that politicians who had faced a huge amount of bullying in their canvassing in the recent elections, that really has prompted this. I think in a way it doesn't bide well that politicians get bullied, suddenly we have a need for legislation, and yet you've got kids who have been committing suicide because of online bullying on sites like Last FM and other places, and it didn't bring this legislation forward as quickly. So sometimes the political class makes the mistake of taking care of themselves instead of the actual constituents. Now, if the outcome is good, then that's all good and well, fine. But it's something that probably should have come a while ago. The difficulty is, though, some online bullying might be, say, someone puts something on Facebook and 40 people comment. Then it's really a swarm of people bullying. Like, who's the specifically guilty one in that instance? I think the enforcement of this is going to be an area that even if you have the proposals and you draft the legislation, that bringing it through to some kind of end result, it's going to be incredibly tricky. And I think that's where they have to really nail it.
But there is actually, a very good point within the recommendations, the report that was carried out by the DIT. It states that, you know, these kind of social media skills are something that should be taught at primary and second level schools, which is a very good point, because, I mean, if you instill in kids the knowledge that you have to be cautious, that you have to have an awareness about what you're writing, that it is something that goes into cyberspace and hangs there for a very long time, can be retrieved easily and can easily hurt as well.
And it's something that even we as adults have had to come to terms with and realise. And they do have various programmes within schools which do try to open up kids' eyes, but it's a very difficult one. Finally, just the image, well, apart from Suarez' teeth, the image of the day, the other image is this picture of the selfie with the Queen, this young fellow up in Belfast. The Examiner has it, but a few of the other papers have it as well. Great opportunism.
Absolutely brilliant, you know, in the age of the selfie, you just have to laugh and admire him for
and I love the faces of the
that.
two guys there. If you can pick it up again, the faces of the two guys there on either side. It's a little bit of worry.
I'd say he's the only 15-year-old who can say he shot the Queen, albeit with his iPhone.
Oh, dear me.
And,
okay.
I don't know that you would have gotten away with that when she was here in Ireland, but certainly.
I'd love to have seen the finished product, see how it turned out. It's like that girl who met her saw her down in Dublin. Remember, I saw the actual Queen. He got a photo with her. Thank you both, Karl and Siobhan. Thanks very much indeed. Now, next this morning, we're going to turn to homelessness, and the Peter McVerry Trust is releasing its report for 2013 today, and it confirms the scale of the problem. The Trust is reporting a tenfold increase in the number of people supported by the Trust since 2008. Well, a little earlier, the Chief Executive of